All right, happy fall, y'all. Today's the first day of fall. What happened to summer? So we're at the episode 118 of the Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lumina Acres, Ben from Holler Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. It's that weird transition between summer and fall. Kind of sweater weather, but not really.
Wear a hoodie in the morning and then you have to shed it and wear the short sleeve shirt the rest of the day.
Or winter hat and winter jacket in the morning.
Yeah, it's not that crispy down here.
We've had two good frosts so far. I think they're both 31-degree temperatures.
Wow, man.
I almost wish you would do that here because that puts an end to the garden and it's like,
Yep.
yeah, garden season's done.
Yeah, that sticks a fork in it. Done.
Done. You still probably have another, what, solid month before you get your first frost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the long range on the weather app. I have a 45-day outlook and it's just based off of, historical averages and like looking at the historical averages for October, and it's like colder and colder and colder, and then about the middle of the month is when the first frost hits, and it's like I'm ready now.
Yeah, we
So
passed our first frost average, which I think is like the 15th of September. So I think like the 20th, the 19th was the first frost.
wow, no snow yet though.
Not yet. Hopefully we still have a while.
So what'd you guys have for dinner?
Meatloaf
Ooh, that sounds good.
was pretty good.
We had Puerto Rican rice and beans.
That sounds
Wow.
good.
Yeah, it was our daughter's turn to cook. So she'll cook like a couple of times a week. Today she cooked potato salad and a whole chicken in the oven and biscuits and apple pie.
That sounds good.
Hmm, that does sound
Why
pretty good.
why is the whole Thanksgiving feast?
Yeah.
It's just a warm up. She's got to
I
get
know.
ready for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
So who wants to talk about their week?
Man, we got a rock, paper, scissors.
I'll go. Let me get up my notes.
Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Let's see.
You go.
One, two, three. Go ahead, Al.
All right. So we're still tearing apart, it seems like, getting more and more of the old out and building new. It seems it's kind of weird when you're tearing apart a house and taking out like the floor joists and walls, and then you got to rebuild it all. When you just have like, I don't know, parts and pieces standing and it's like a skeleton, and then you're taking off more, and it's like, wait a minute, there needs to be a wall there. So you're trying to like, so like we started taking off. Right now we got floor joist in the office done. We put the wall under the office floor on the first floor, and then we got to go in the basement. We got to tear out the basement stairs, and we had the wall under the basement didn't for the stairs was a diagonal wall, and it didn't go to the concrete floor, so it wasn't like structurally supporting the wall above it, and so that wall supports the office floor. So we had to tear all that out so we could support the office floor from the basement up. So
Jeez.
you just teared everything out.
You
And
taking
it's just kind
pictures
of,
before you tear it out?
no, we got video. We are terrible. Do you guys take pictures of your projects?
Not anymore. If I'm filming it, I don't even pull my phone out once.
See,
I do it still.
you do it still. We never did. We've always done projects even before YouTube, but we never take photos. I don't know why. I think we just kind of get in the mode of like doing it and we don't stop. And it's like, oh, we have no
Yeah.
pictures.
That is quite a struggle because there's quite a few points in this project I'm working on. It's like, man, I wish I had taken some pictures. About the only pictures I have are when my mom texts me and is like, asking me about something, and I'll walk outside and take a picture. This is what we did today.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the only pictures I've got.
Yep. That's kind of how we are. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. We have to have like a ladder in the basement to get upstairs, or you got to walk outside to get back to the first floor. So when you forget a tool, you need something new. It's like, oh wait, hold on. We also had to add a structural post by the chimney that supports the other end of the office floor and our bedroom floor. So there was a wall under it that we took out, but it really wasn't supporting because you had the wall and then you had strapping above it, then you had the ceiling, but it's just like resting on like little pieces of the strapping. And I don't know, it wasn't. So we took that out, but then in the basement, there's nothing supporting it underneath in the basement. But I mean, the house has been that way for 150 years ish. I mean, and it's still standing. A little sagging, but I think if I'm ever that old, I'll probably be sagging and in pretty rough shape too. So,
Yeah, but I want to know what kind of lumber that is. It's supporting upper floors on just like little corners.
yep.
Must be some strong wood.
When we took out the floor and the beams for the office, they were like all bowed. But I'm like, the only thing I can think of is they must have used green lumber when they did it, and like it just stretched right away and it just stayed there. Because I mean, I don't know, nothing was like there was no cracks, nothing was damaged, but it was just like a 2 inch sag either direction. That's just kind of weird taking everything apart and just like looking at it. And I don't know, when you build a house, you start like at different points and you have different stages that you work in. But when you're tearing it apart and you're kind of like doing it backwards or doing it out of order, it's like, man, this is just weird.
So are you still doing the animals in the morning and then going and then
Yep.
doing that?
So we do our morning, we do the chores, take care of the animals in the morning. Then we go over there, we work for probably 7 hours. Then we come back, do chores, and do the night stuff. Sometimes I stay over there till later,
You
and
got to
put
put a
12
heater in
hours
there?
in. So there's a
Yeah.
furnace in there that's disconnected. So we have some Modine heaters that we're going to hook up to the furnace and reconnect it, and that's how we'll heat it this winter while we're building it. But we also got to get power. There's no power to it right now. I ripped out
Oh,
all the
really?
wiring, the service panel, and everything.
Okay. It's not that cold where you need it right
No,
now. Yeah,
no, it's like today, I think it was like 75.
That's perfect.
It is. You sweat a little bit, but not too bad.
that's nice.
So, do you heat your house with your mini splits, Ben, or is that just air conditioning?
No, that's how we heat. I would love to put in a wood stove,
Yep.
but honestly, like when I rebuilt this, I over insulated it and it hasn't been an issue. Knock on wood that, we don't have an ice storm and lose power. But
Right.
yeah, the mini splits have kept us nice and comfortable.
Yep. I was seeing today they make mini splits with so like there's the whole house like recirculation system that lets like fresh air in and preheats it and takes the house air and puts it out. Well, now they make that unit, so it's the mini splits have that also. So all you have to do is have your mini splits, and then it's also your whole house ventilation. So I've been starting to look into those. 'Cause I'm like, where it's spray foamed, we need to bring fresh air in the wintertime because everything's so sealed up and so tight. You don't get your moisture out. Like by taking baths and washing dishes, you get a bunch of moisture in your house. But when you use spray foam, it's so tight that that can't escape anywhere.
Hmm.
But
I've actually had this conversation with a friend that was dealing with some mold, and they were like, "How the heck did people, deal with mold, you know, uh, 100 years ago?" And I was like, "Well, hold on. Like, your whole house is hooked up to an air conditioning system, an air handler. Uh, you don't burn a fire. People 100 years ago, they cooked on a fire, they heated with a fire, they always had a fire burning. In fact, they had to put a pot of water on the stove to add humidity back to the house. And they just looked at me and they're like, "Oh, duh. Yeah, if you're having to put humidity back, you're not going to have moisture problems."
and
That's,
then the houses were so drafty.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there's
yeah,
always fresh air coming in and out, where the new houses are so tight, there is no air exchanging.
no.
And then we use so much more water in the houses nowadays. Like think about the showers, your steam,
Hmm.
cooking. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have easy access to water back then, so I'm sure the amount of water they used in the house was nowhere near the amount that we use.
I think a really good example of how tight houses are. If you want to know how tight your house is, close all the doors and windows and then watch your windows or stand outside and have someone slam like the front door. All the windows in the house go bloop because of the
Hmm.
air pressure change. Like that means your house is tight. Like I actually hate that so much that I always have at least one window in the house like open 2 or 3 inches. Even in the dead of winter, I'll do that just for airflow, just to stop the windows from bouncing whenever someone slams the door. Like I gotta have fresh air up in here.
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot healthier for you too.
Yeah,
Definitely. It's crazy to think about, oh, hey, we need to insulate these houses so well to keep them warm. But then on the same hand, we got to bring fresh air in because they're too well insulated. It's kind of a crazy thing to get your mind around.
it is.
How I mean, I know it's energy efficient, but it's kind of like, wait a minute. So I got to get fresh air in, but I got to preheat that first so it's not cold air coming into the house. Wait a minute, is this really energy efficient?
Building a house, and I've had to like learn about this stuff, and like the way I built it, they don't build houses with rafters very often anymore. They're all built with trusses.
Hmm.
Well, how do you like what's your attic space look like? All those questions I've had, and it's like kind of head scratching. I bought all the stuff for the roof, and the way your rafters vent is they vent up through the peak, through the cap on your roof. But when you buy the roofing, it all comes with these closer strips that close up all your metal, and it's like, oh, I got to leave some of these off for ventilation. There's just stuff like that. It's crazy to learn all that. And then at the same time, it's like, well, am I gonna change my air handling to where it doesn't matter? Like, heck no, I'm just gonna build it old school.
Right.
Everything else we do is old school.
Nothing wrong with that. I think one of the hard parts for us is we planned on already being in the new farm and farmhouse. So it's kind of like I'm not very good at long-term planning. So this is kind of like stretching me and helping me be more of long-term focused. Are you guys good with that? Like, do you have like a 5, 10 year plan? Or are you just kind of like more like, yeah,
So
No.
with this house build, like usually, like we plan out a little bit, like kind of set goals. With this house build at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't like a New Year's resolution type thing. We sat down. It was like, how are we going to build this house? How are we going to build the things that we want to build after the house? And we just wrote out everything and kind of had a rough plan. We didn't put time limits on stuff. We really just kind of like, okay, after this, this is the order of operations. I did it like I was building a job traveler for a shop. A traveler is like your paperwork that sticks with a job in a machine shop. And that's kind of how I wrote out my plan for how we have to do stuff. Like, I want to build a shop. Well, to build a shop, I need storage for the equipment. I got to build some roofs off of existing structures, that kind of thing. And so it's just an order of operations. And that was kind of that's how I work. That's how my brain works. But as far as like putting a time limit to it, yeah, good luck.
Nope. Just,
no.
yeah. I just barely know what I'm doing today. And then I forget.
People always ask me like, so when do you plan on being in? Like, I even like when we're doing a big project like this, I never have. Like, I'm not like, oh, I plan on being in. I'm like, I'm gonna give it 110, 150%. We'll be in when we'll be in. Like, why put the added stress of,
A
oh, I
time
gotta
limit.
get the timelines. I think that just like makes it even worse on yourself.
Well, it's helpful that you have a place that you're living in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're
Yeah.
out in a tent somewhere
Yeah, it'd be
or a
totally different if you're trying to
hotel.
live in
Yeah.
the basement.
Yes. The first house that we kind of like built ourselves, we had it all, the first homestead that you get that was on YouTube, we had that framed in, and then we did everything else ourselves. We were living at our in-laws, and it was just like hammer down. And everybody asked me, like, I don't know. We did that one in 3 months. We plumbing, rough everything in. And somebody asked my father, like, oh, when are they moving out? And he's like, oh, I don't know. They'll be out. And he's like, oh, they're gonna be there for a year. And they're like, you don't know Al. It was like 3 months where I'm like, nope, like, yes, we have a place to stay, but we want our own place and we don't want to like wear out anybody's welcome.
Yeah. So maybe what you're saying is maybe by Christmas you'll be in.
Maybe by Christmas. We'll see. I don't, we'll probably move in before everything's 100% complete. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's most likely what we'll do. Like the office won't, like the office will be usable, but it's not going to be like trimmed out and all
Oh,
100%
right.
done kind of stuff.
That's a dangerous game to play, Al.
It is.
My unpainted trim behind me should serve as a example. Trim's one of those things. It'll take 25 years before you finish it.
Yes, I agree.
Or moving stuff out of the way too, I think is a pain. Like if you have a bunch of stuff
It
in the
is.
house and you got to move something out of the way to
Yep.
finish something, I don't like that.
No, for sure. Yeah. Or to move stuff to make a mess.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see. You guys are like telling me I got to
Yeah.
finish it completely before we move in.
I
Well,
mean,
the floors would be nice.
Right.
you could just
Pink.
do the whole like finish off living quarters and a kitchen and a
Yeah.
bathroom. And then you move in and just put some plastic up and keep the mess on one side and your living quarters on the other. And then don't worry about it. It's a lot easier to roll out of bed and go to work than it is to, you know, have to drive somewhere to go to
Oh yeah.
work.
And a lot easier to have all the animals where
That's
you
true.
are.
Yeah.
Right now it's like, okay, you got morning chores, work, go home, evening chores, so it'd be nice to just have everything all in one place.
Yeah, that's time consuming too.
Yep. But it's nice to not be having to live there while we're doing the complete demo. So it's got its ups and downs.
Probably once you get farther into the putting back rather than tearing out, it'll become more feasible to do something like that.
Yeah,
Who
that'd be nice.
knows? The more you get put back, you just get to that point where it's like, okay, like you, I don't know, with me, every time I change tasks and it's like, okay, now we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing dirt work. Now we're doing framing. Like you get into the swing of it and then it goes faster and faster and faster, and then you're done and you're on to the next thing. It'll be the same thing. Once you start putting drywall up, it'll be a breakneck speed and you'll be like, you know what? Let's just move in. Merry
Right.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Let's do it. I think I'll feel a lot better once everything's all torn out and it's just all new going back in. We're getting there. We're close. I think the only thing left we'll have to tear out soon, I think will be the second floor, subfloor, like the in the original house. I think we're almost to that point. So that'll be nice. All of the gutting is done, at least, like the walls and everything. Then I'm trying to get outside and do some outside projects, like focusing more on like the farm and like and planning for the future. So I'm terrible, like orchards and blueberry places, like trying to figure out like a good place for those. But my hard part with those is it's like wherever you put them, they need to stay. So
That is the hard part.
you gotta like really think about it because you
Yeah.
put an apple tree in, it takes you what 2 to 5 years before you get apples, and you can't move them in between.
We did
Not
that.
easily.
We put apple trees in and we ripped them out the next year because we realized really quickly that's not where we wanted them.
Yep.
But
How did they do being retransplanted?
they seem fine. Yeah, they seem fine. They were still pretty young and they were still pretty little. So
Yep.
we just moved them closer to the house, which is a better spot. But you just moved in, so didn't really sure where you're gonna put stuff.
Right.
That's what's hard. Yeah.
I think those are like the hard ones too. 'Cause it's like it's permanent, but at the same time, it's like I gotta get these done sooner than later because they take 2 to 5 years to get a
Yeah.
good establishment. So you want to get to them at the same point, but you gotta figure out where you want them.
Yeah.
I got a tree that Stark sent us, and they sent it in like June. So it's like hot. And this sucker was a bare root apple tree. And I'm in the middle of building, and I was like, oh no, this poor thing's gonna die. So I went and I stuck it in one of the garden beds just to get it in the dirt and get it watered. Well, that sucker is loving it in the garden bed, and it's kind of down there by the barn, and it's in a really bad spot. But I'm just looking at this thing, and it's growing like gangbusters. It must really like the garden soil, and all I can think is like, man, if I dig that sucker up, I'm gonna kill it. So now I'm looking at it like, guess it could stay. Like this isn't a bad spot. Any apples that fall off, they'll just roll down the hill to the pigs. So like
There
it's
you
not
go.
that big of a deal. But yeah, moving trees after you've stuck them in the ground is kind of it's a scary ordeal.
Yep. What variety did they send you?
That's a red delicious.
They're delicious.
And everybody was like, ooh, ah. I actually watched a really interesting documentary on Red Delicious and various other apples that have been around for 1,000 years, and they have fallen out of favor because there's so many better varieties that people have bred. And Red Delicious is actually going extinct because nobody wants to grow them anymore. Nobody wants to buy them. Nobody wants to eat them. And so they're ripping out every Red Delicious all across the country.
Wow.
And so Stark had reached out and they're like, hey, we want to send you some trees. And we found out it was a Red Delicious. I was like, but I would never buy one of those. Then I watched that documentary. I was like, I'll plant it. It can grow here. I might have the last one.
Right.
Yeah. Send them to me.
Now, how long have you found it takes you to get apples off of a bare root one from Starks?
So we planted out our Stark trees when we got here. I would say it was about 2 years before
That's
we
not
got apples. No, it wasn't bad.
bad at all.
Um, Now I will say uh, some of the bare roots did way better than others. I don't know if it was varieties or what, but just speaking apple trees, um, there was ones that I bought from a local nursery that were way bigger, like way bigger in pots, and I planted those, and the bare roots have actually caught up and passed the pots, the potted plants. Um, and like this year, they produced a lot of fruit, and the ones that came in pots, uh, maybe like two or three apples. So I don't
Nice.
know. Again, it could be where they're planted, how much compost they've gotten, that kind of thing. But yeah, I've found the bare roots always do way better.
Have you ever tried a potted one from Stock Brothers?
Yeah, we've gotten some potted ones from them. Um, Even though I'm sponsored by Stark, like their stuff is amazing. Their stuff is really, we've been very happy with it. There's another nursery that I thought about working with that's down in Georgia, and I could get all kinds of like exotic, like weird, rare stuff. And I ordered a huge, it was like 20 trees that I ordered from them. I think I have maybe like five of them left. Like three-quarters of them died.
Wow.
Um, I got some apricot trees from them, and they brought in disease. I'm dealing with fire blight. Do you guys have fire blight up there?
Not that I'm
Uh,
aware of.
I kind of wonder if the fire blight came in on their trees, because I haven't seen it anywhere else. So yeah, just haven't had that problem with Stark
Bummer.
killing all my pear trees.
Yep. Did you find that their bare roots did just as good or better than their potted ones?
Their bare roots do way better than their potted ones.
Must be because they're not like root bound.
They're not root bound, and the way I understand it is, usually when you grow bare roots like that, you grow them in what's called an air prune bed. And so you plant them out and they grow and their roots, an air prune bed has like a screen on the bottom. And so as their roots go through, as soon as they hit air, they self prune. And so it causes the roots to just become really fibrous and fill out the dirt that's in this bed. And so when they go dormant, you just pull them up, shake the dirt off, trim off any, crazy roots, and you've got a really big, healthy start, a 1 year, 2 year old tree, and the roots aren't all bunched up on themselves. They're reaching. And so when you stick that in the ground, they just continue reaching and they establish quicker. That's the way I understand it.
Makes sense.
I mean, I've I built my own air prune bed for growing peach and apricot trees, and some of these apricot trees, like I've still got some that I started, took some out, planted them in the dirt, left the rest in this bed. They're still 12 inches tall after like a year, and the ones that I stuck in the dirt are now 6 feet tall just in a year. So they've done pretty good.
Good to know.
Get me
Save a
talking
lot of
about
money.
trees, man.
Yeah, no, save a ton of money too by buying the.
The only problem with bare root is like you have a very tight timeline. Like, order in the fall, order in the winter when they're dormant, and then when you get them, don't just let them sit.
Right.
Like, have a spot ready, get them in the ground ASAP, because they will dry out and die fairly quickly.
Yep.
That's been the struggle. Like we'll be like right in the middle of stuff, and our Stark order will show up, and it's like, oh no, I'm not going to bed until these trees are planted. That kind of situation.
Yep. Good to know. So that's been my week. What'd you get into, Jason?
Yeah, I had a good week. We were talking about it this week, but this week was our 10th summer in North Carolina, which is
Man,
wild. I don't know how that creeped up, but next spring we'll be here 10 years. since living out here. So it's just wild to think about because it doesn't feel like we've been here that long, but I don't know. I mean, it
That's
doesn't feel that
crazy.
long. Yeah.
A decade.
I know. When you say a decade, yeah, that f feels like forever. But yeah, just
Let
kind
me ask you this. Did you have any gray hairs showing when you left?
of let's see. Let's look back at my videos. No, I don't think I did.
I think I had one gray hair when we left. I think the time on the road caused a few more, but that's
Yeah.
kind of weird getting out here. I swear, living out here, maybe it's being in the sun all the time is aging, but
Yeah, or just working for yourself and you know, trying to figure out how to pay all the bills. But yeah, man, like it's crazy how time flies, man. And yeah, so so yeah, looking forward to getting to that 10 years next year. But yeah, 10 summers, which is pretty cool. I still will take this uh humidity over the California heat too, for
amen,
sure.
brother.
Any day. So I'm still liking that part of it. 'Cause I had a lot of people, I remember a lot of people telling me, "Oh, you're gonna hate the humidity and you're not gonna like it, the weather out there." I'm like, man, I don't know.
What do
Be-
you miss from California?
Well, family, of course,
Right.
but besides that, I kind of miss
Tacos.
sidewalks. What? Is that what you said?
The tacos.
The
Oh, the
talk.
tacos? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mexican food. Uh,
Sidewalks. That's funny.
so, yeah, just running out, opening your front door and going like maybe for a walk or a run around the block. Not really doing that now, but instead of walking in the woods, maybe. But I
Yep.
guess that's probably better. But yeah, other than that, nothing really. I don't think we miss anything too much. But yeah. So let's see what's up this week. So we took two of our Idaho pasture pigs to the abattoir.
Sounds so much better.
Mm. Yeah, it does sound.
Sounds sophisticated.
Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah, I don't know, but the processor for everyone else. So in the beginning of the week, I wanted to try something different with these two because I had to load them up in my trailer. So I have my livestock trailer now. But what I learned since we're using the same processor that we did last year when I brought the pig in, I remember it being like a really long line to get in. And the processor area was very narrow. So there was people with giant trailers and big trucks, and they were just, everyone was turning in and turning around and backing in, and it was kind of hectic. And I had my DIY livestock trailer where I made the four walls and I just put it on my trailer, and it's a lot smaller than a livestock trailer. So I was happy I had that last year because I pretty much kind of got in and out with no issues because I was like one of the smaller guys there. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that again since I only have two pigs. So um, I wanted to train the pigs to this trailer so that way on the day of we load them up, it shouldn't be an issue. So I brought the trailer up to the Idaho pigs and I I left it in their area. It was all like, wire fenced in. And honestly, I didn't have a problem loading them up. Like the first day I dropped it down there and I fed them on the trailer. Right away, they like walked up the trailer they just followed me on top of the trailer without even me having food. Like it wasn't even an issue. And I was like, well, I probably don't need to do this. But then I realized that, the way we raise the pigs is, we feed them every day. They're not in a all you can eat feeder. They see me dump food in a pan. I go to them and I sh drop it right in front of them. So I think if you do that, it's easier just to load them up on wherever you want them to go, I think. I think if they were in more of a like an automatic feeder where I didn't feed them, they didn't see me feeding them every day, I think that would be harder to load.
Yep.
And maybe at that point, maybe you do have to train them to a trailer. Um, so anyways, I mean, I did it. I left it there, and the only thing I was worried about is them destroying my trailer. Like I pictured them just grabbing on a tail light and just like ripping it off or something. So that's what I was worried about, really. But other than that, it went fine. We loaded, we there, it was there for a week. We loaded them up, no problem, and we took them to the processor and dropped them off. Now my plan is to sell these two. That's why we took them to a processor. But it's always kind of weird taking them to a processor. I feel kind of bad sometimes because you raise them and we're just dropping them off somewhere. But like when we dropped them off, loading them up was no problem. But when we dropped them off, they didn't want to come down the ramp of the trailer. So the guy that was there, I mean, they were very patient. The guys that were working there, and we just kind of stood there for a minute and try. At first, they were kind of walking down, and then they figured it out, and they were like, "Nope, I'm not walking down there." And so they went in the back of the trailer and they just didn't want to come down. And I was like, well, I brought some feed. So, because I always bring feed with me every time I have to go to some processor because you never know, right? In my mind, they're gonna jump out of this thing down the highway and I gotta go chase them somewhere. So they're like, oh no, we should be able to do it. So he was trying to kind of forcing them down. Not, he wasn't doing anything crazy, but he was just kind of like pushing them a little bit. And they just did not want to come down that ramp. And so let me go get my food. Let me go get the feed. And so as soon as I got the feed, I put it in one of their pans and I shoved it in their face. And then right away, they just followed me all the way down the ramp, like no problem. Because I didn't feed them that morning either for that purpose. So I'm glad I brought the feed with me because after that, it was no issue. So I did get the weights back. Do you remember your weights, Al? Because you had Idaho's, right?
Yeah, we did.
Do you recall the weights?
Not off the top of my head. The male was a lot bigger than the female.
So they just emailed me the weights this morning. Um, it was 199 and 185.
Let's see if I can.
It's a
They
good
were
size.
they were 7 months old. I'm not sure when I'll get the meat back yet. It probably should be this week, but I don't know. Just kind of interesting, but I'm glad that went pretty smoothly. So we're officially taking turkey deposits, so people could reserve their Thanksgiving turkey on our website, and then pick up probably began November. So people could go to our website and reserve their turkey. I think we have 4 people that reserved their turkey already, I think we'll have about 22 turkeys
It's
total
a
to
bunch of turkeys.
try to sell. Yeah, it's that time of year, I guess. So a fun thing we did this week is we did the annual farm tour that they do out here once a year. We've been going pretty much every year since we've been out here, almost 10 years. The ASAP Farm Tour, it's called Appalachian Sustainable Agriculture Project, I believe. And there's like these little pockets of farms that they gather, and you could just tour all these farms. Like it's like maybe $30 for a carload, and you could drive to as many of these farms as you can in 2 days. And they just people open up their farm, and you can walk around. They do farm tours. Sometimes they have food or things they sell, and it's a good way of just checking out local farms. I think it's pretty cool. And every time I go on these tours, man, I feel so inspired when I come home. Like it kind of gets me fired up to be like, man, we could do that. Like, oh, you know what? We should do that. Like we went to one, it was a meat processor. It was a processing facility. And this guy, it was a young family, and they're just starting out, I think. Maybe they've been around maybe a couple years, but you could tell they're just starting out. And they built a brand new building, and they had a walk-in cooler in there, and they had the whole setup. Even like hoist with a track to hoist up the animal, and it brings it in the cooler and everything. They're not USDA inspected yet, but he said they're planning on being that maybe next year sometime. So I don't know. I mean, it seemed like a really good facility, and for just starting out, I mean, for where the location that he's at, it's like it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's in a spot where it's needed. It's closer to us, and it's just it's a good location, I think, because there's nobody else doing it that close. But yeah, they had all the cool processing toys. I took pictures. I should send you guys the pictures. I took pictures. I was like, oh, look at that. Look at that hoist. Ooh. And they were cool family run. And he was like, I want to keep it family business, which is cool too. They were a younger family, and you could tell when the younger family gets into this whole kind of lifestyle is that they're very just like excited. It kind of reminded me of like how we all were when we first started, and you're just excited to get some kind of land, and you're just like, yeah, let's do this. And you want to do all this stuff. So it's just kind of fun. But so we went there. We went to an apple. Speaking of apples, we went to an apple orchard. That was cool. And it was just another family-run business, a small business, but they have like 1,200 apple trees that they planted. I believe he said they planted 13 years ago. And these trees were huge. And that's all they do is just apples. They had different varieties. They do they do apple juice and just different varieties of apples. It seems just very simple, but he said they only work from like August to January and then they shut down. So like that's their main season. I was like, man, that sounds nice. So it got me kind of thinking like, man, we should have more apples. We should have our own orchard, you know, which is kind of cool. But so we did that. We went to a creamery where they did cheese, and this place was it was kind of fancy. We had one of those cheese caves.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was kind of underground.
Is this local?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe I missed that. We were planning on going to that and completely spaced it.
Yeah, this is all like 30 minutes from us.
Hmm.
And this creamery is like they have it's a huge farm. They have cows. We really didn't see the cows, but they milk the cows and they make cheese. They do other things with cream. And they have a whole cafe on their farm where they sell other things. Have all these cheeses in there that you could buy, ice cream and stuff like that. And you could just sit down and just hang out if you wanted to. And it was really nice. I'm like, I never even knew this place was here, but it just gets me fired up, man. So it's like I came home and I was like, we need a giant apple orchard. We need a creamery. I need a butcher shop. Yeah, it was cool. Highly recommend it. So, so what else? Our sheep are still doing good. What did we do? I think it was about 5 days where every night I walked those sheep in. They followed me in with treats, and I shut the door and locked them in that shed I have, the little barn. I did that every night for 5 days, and finally I was like, okay, I think they're getting the hang of it here. So the sixth day, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put them to bed. I'm not gonna lock them in at night. I'm just gonna leave the door open so that way they could come in and out throughout the night. So I did that the first night, and I still had my baby monitor on him, and I did not see him once the whole night in that my camera. And I was like, man, I was like, they're probably out there. I hope they're still out there somewhere. I just can't see them because they didn't go in the shelter at all. I thought maybe they would go in the shelter at least, but they didn't. And so the next morning I woke up and they were fine. They were just outside. And so the next few days, they same thing. I didn't put them away. I still gave them treats at night. Like I gave them treats and I had them go follow me into the shelter, and I still gave them that, but then I wouldn't lock them in. So every night, again, like they were not in the camera at all. And so they're just outside doing stuff. And yeah, they've been fine. I have noticed like in the evening, I don't know if they get super excited because you see them just like running around in circles. I don't know what that is. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but they're like jumping up and down. They're like headbutting each other. They're running around in circles. And I'm like, wow. I mean, it seems healthy to me.
Is it
Um,
cooling off at night there?
yeah, yeah, it's cooling off.
I wonder if they like the cooler weather.
Going Frisky.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just excited. Even like last night, I even grabbed the treats and I was like, "Oh, let's just see if they follow me." They wanted nothing to do with me. I think they found, I don't know what it was. Like they just didn't even come to me. They would like run up, almost like run up to me, and then they like run away. So I don't know what that is, but yeah, they seem like they're doing fine. One of them did. I went out there this morning and I noticed one of them was out of the electric wire. He was on the other side trying to get in, and I think they must have hit it at night or something because some of it was kind of down. And then he just like looked at me and then he just like jumped over it and went back in, which was fine. But other than that, yeah, they seem fine, which I'm super thankful for. They haven't run away on me yet,
You have
but
plans to get a ram yet?
no, I haven't looked into that yet. I still want to do that. Um, I don't
You gotta
know.
start a creamery. You're gonna need a ram.
I know that sheep cream, that sheep cheese. Well, the 3-year-old sheep I have, she might be pregnant already. So I don't know. So I don't know if I should get a ram now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should because I still got two other ones in there. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so far so good. But yeah, that's about it. So what's up, Ben?
You ever had those weeks where you're like busy all week and then you get to the end of the week and you feel like you didn't do anything? That's kind of my week last week. So I finally got the roof finished and buttoned up. I think I talked about that on the last podcast. Got the roof completely 100% buttoned up. I'd had to run all over God's green earth last Monday and get parts that I was short on and parts that I'd forgot to order. And so by Tuesday, I got the roof on like all the way done, buttoned up, ridge cap on, all of that. Uh, you ever have people in the comments that are just like completely obsessed with a certain detail to the point where the next time you like film anything, you're gonna make an almost an entire video out of that one thing that people are harping on?
Yes.
So that's how I am. I'd never showed poking the stink tubes up through the new roof. Oh my gosh. That is like the number one comment. I've had people message about making sure I put the chimney through the roof, and I'm sitting here going, "What chimney? I don't have a chimney." But they're very concerned about running the sewer tubes and the chimney up through the new roof. And it's like, well, I don't have a chimney, so I don't need to run a chimney up through the roof. If I had a chimney, I would probably run it through the roof. And the stink tubes, as soon as I get the end walls on, that's non-negotiable. Those are definitely going to have to go up through the new roof. Otherwise, it's just going to get trapped on the new build under the roof. So yeah, I haven't decided if that needs to be like an entire video or if I'm just gonna not even show it and
Don't
let
acknowledge
them
it.
don't acknowledge it and
Let
just
them
like
ask questions.
just move on to I have to know. Did you put your sewer tubes up through their new roof? Well, you're just gonna have to watch that skyline when I'm out walking around and see if those pipes are sticking up.
Well, I got people asking me about my horse mats still.
What about them? Like, are
What'd you
you
do
gonna
with those horse mats? Yeah.
like, man, you want them? Come get them. Spray paint, sew the land on them. Say they're limited edition.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
You don't show everything. They don't think it got done.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
struggle. I would say like this whole build has not actually been that bad. Not like when we were redoing this house in 2020. There was a lot more new people in 2020, and they were savage. I mean, they were miserable. I got beat up over everything, and this build hasn't been that bad. I mean, don't read comments after like a day. Uh, it seems that the trolls show up after 24 hours. I don't like getting my feelings hurt, so I don't read comments after 24 hours just because that's usually where the hate starts showing up. And generally, like everybody who watches, we have a lot of people that click in the first like 5 to 10 minutes and that's usually when I read comments. It's like right when we post. So it's a lot of really nice comments. But you know how it is. You read 100 good comments, and the one bad one's the one that you pay attention to. It's the one that gets through. So, anyways, all that to say, roof's finished. So with that, like it's kind of nice checking stuff off the list. Like
Have you
I'm
had a
like,
rain since the roof's been? No.
nope. I mean, we had some sprinkles the other day. What was that, like Sunday or something like that? I forget what it was when I hadn't put the ridge cap on yet, and so we had a little bit of sprinkle activity, but not enough to where it's like, like a good rain. But I mean, it didn't rain inside, so that was cool. But yeah, since I put that ridge cap on, not a drop. It's starting to get dry out here. The grass is starting to die. It's like, come on. It's because I finished my roof. The
Yep.
rain's done. Like when my friend Gary was here and we're trying to build a roof, oh, it wouldn't stop raining. Second we got that roof on, it's like, yeah, yeah, we're done raining.
Do you have room for gutters to put on that thing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna put gutters on this thing.
cool.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It's on the list, further down the list. So I started framing up the end wall to kind of cover up, I guess, cover up the mobile home and connect our roof to the rest of the structure. Uh, it was a pain in the butt. So I made a mistake. That's the easiest way to put it. I messed up when I built my foundation, and so I don't know. The audio people will miss this, but basically both structures were kind of actually like that. So they're just slightly out of square with each other. So I ran a string off of the new structure because the roof is based off of the new structure. Well, the end of the mobile home was out of square with the new structure by almost about 3 inches. So if I were to just and the new structure, I don't know, I'll probably talk about it in a video. Anyways, to frame out the end, I basically had to build a faux wall that not only tapered uh, horizontally, but it tapered vertically. So everything came out plumb and straight. And so it was a absolute pain in the butt to just rip down 2x4s. Every single 2x4 I put up was a different length, a different width, and a different taper, so I could get this new wall squared out. Yeah, it was an absolute pain in the butt ripping all this. It probably took 2 days just fiddling. But I got it all done, got it sheeted, got the house wrap up, and now it all looks like one structure when you come driving up the driveway. You
Nice.
know, it's all house wrap, but it sure looks nice. Like finally having something like finished-ish, cohesive. Oh man, it's
That's
kind of
cool.
nice. Like I
That's
was up
cool.
there, I was up there doing the house wrap, and Meg comes out and she's like, "Have you been down to see this like from the ground?" I was like, "No." She goes, "This looks really nice." So I got down, hopped in the golf cart, and like drove around the driveway and came back up so I could see it from farther down. It was like that does look pretty freaking nice. You can't hardly even tell there's a mobile home hidden under there. The other side, I'm not going to have to frame up like that. I'm not going to have to make a faux wall over everything. But the other end of the mobile home has a 12-inch soffit that sticks out. And my original plan was I was going to just kind of incorporate it into the eaves somehow. And the more I've thought about it, I was thinking back to when we were building this place out and I was sheeting the outside of this house. And I remember looking into that soffit and there's nothing in there. It's just wasted space. They just built it out, kind of cheaply framed it out and then covered it.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like a little 12-inch overhang over it's our bedroom. It just kind of overhangs those two windows that are in there by about 12 inches, kind of keeps the rain off. It's the only place on the whole house that has an overhang. And thinking about it, it's like, well, now I've got 2 feet of eaves. I can rip off that soffit and I'll just sheet all the way up. And I don't have to build some funky faux wall like I did on the other end. So it's probably what I'm going to do. That's my next project. I'm going to get the other end wall going on. hopefully this week. But it's always kind of scary to tear into your structure. Never know what you're going to find. And when we were
Tell me about that.
Al knows.
when we were redoing this thing, like all I ever did was like kind of like tear some stuff back, and I kind of like stuck my head up in there. And it's like, oh, there's nothing in here. This is just like it's just built out. It's a whole bunch of 2x2s, just real chintzy the way it's made. Honestly, I could probably just take the sheet metal off and just get a real long Sawzall blade, and I could just probably just buzz the whole thing off and then just slap some sheeting up. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Because that thing doesn't serve a purpose.
Other than it's got roof on top of it, and so it's kind of works like eaves. It's kind of like eaves on the end over there.
Yeah.
It makes it look like a mobile home is really what it does. But last week I think it was Friday, we went up and visited Meg's grandma, spent the day with her up in the mountains. Went and got dinner and just hung out. While we were up there, I she had a list of things she needed help with her house. And so while I was up there, I'm crawling underneath her house, fixing the dryer vent, uh, installing stuff, just little knick-knacky stuff she just needed help with. Uh, when I crawled down there, I assume an electrician lost his pocket knife. And so like I get down there he had worked on the dryer, particularly the dryer like plug. And she had bought this washer and dryer, plugged the dryer in. As soon as she plugged it in, the dryer made a weird sound and then was dead, wouldn't work. So I think she got it from Lowe's, called Lowe's. They sent her out another one, plugged that one in, and that one got cooked. So the installer was like, "You need to get an electrician out here." So she gets an electrician, and he's like, "Your 220, your 240 for this thing is wired wrong. Your wire all the way back to the wall has melted.
Wow.
Like it's amazing
Man.
you didn't burn your house down." So
Jeez.
he made it all right, and she got another dryer, and that worked. But I guess in all that back and forth, the line for the vent got torn, and so I got down there and I was looking at it, and there was so much, that dryer vent's like a big accordion, and so I just, stretched more out and ran it up through the hole and was able to connect it to the dryer. So now she can dry her clothes without venting into her uh, crawl space and house. So yeah, it was fun times. I didn't know I was crawling under a house. I would have worn better pants, but that's all right. We were sitting there eating dinner, and it's like, oh, I got fiberglass down my shirt. This is great.
You found a knife?
Yeah, I found it's one of those like pocket knives, but it's got razor blades. Sucker looks like it's been to hell and back. It's all beat up, but it's like worn from being in a pocket. And it's like, oh man, that dude, it either fell out of his pocket or he he set it down. But like I was under there, and it looked like, right under the dryer. It's like he probably set it down and then forgot about it. Like, swipe, I got me a new pocket knife. So that's kind of cool. So sorry, Mr. Electrician, who lost your Milwaukee pocket knife, but it went to a good home. So yeah, that was about my week. We when I was finishing this end wall, so I'm trying not to buy a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to have to look at for the next decade. And so when we finished redoing this house 5 years ago, I had to buy two 9-foot rolls of house wrap, and one roll did almost the entire house, and then it was just a little bit, I don't know, maybe a third to half a roll from the second roll. And so this roll has been living in the barn for 5 years. And when we got to doing this new build, I got that roll out, and it was almost enough to do the entire thing. And so used up the rest of it, and I was like, sweet, it didn't go to waste. Used it 5 years later, but it didn't go to waste.
Heck yeah.
And I had to go buy, they sell little 3-foot rolls. And so I bought a little 3-foot roll, and it finished up everything that we had to do on the new build. Well, then I framed in this wall, and it needs house wrap. And so I got the rest of that roll. There was a 3-foot section up on the top by like, I don't know, 6 feet long. that I was short. So I had to go buy another 100 foot, 3 foot wide roll, and I literally used 6 feet off of it. So now I'll do the other end wall, but I guarantee I'm gonna have more than half of a roll that I'm gonna have to keep. So now I'm gonna have to find something else to build that needs house wrap. So I don't have a roll that I'm kicking around for the next 5 years. I should
Man,
probably be better. I should probably just like, you know, tape it closed so it doesn't unravel and then just donate it. I should just do that instead of keeping it. Someone will find it at the restore and be like, "Hey, I need 6 feet of house wrap. Look at this roll. It's, $1." That kind of thing. That's probably what I should do. But I don't know. You never know when you need stuff.
I probably would have threw it away
You need
Uh,
it as soon as you throw it away.
after
and then you
after
go buy another 100 foot roll.
Yep.
yeah. After 2 years, I would have been like, "Nah, I don't need this."
Well, I think with the 9 foot roll that we were kicking around, I kept looking at it. It was like I should like throw it away or donate it. Or just get rid of it. And I kept coming back to, nah, I think we're gonna add on. Like I think we're gonna add on.
Yeah.
And so I just kept it, or at the very least, it's like, well, maybe I'll just, reside the barn, and while I have it all, unsided, I'll put house wrap on it so it sheds water a little bit better. Those kind of
Yeah.
thoughts you have. But a lot of times it's better to just throw the trash away. Just
Are those wraps like UV treated?
They say the Lowe's wrap stuff will last like 9 months in the weather. And we had ours 11 months out in the weather and it didn't fall apart. I don't know. I imagine like it looks like it's made out of feed bag material. The
Yep.
Lowe's wrap is. Now I
They're
know
not
Tyvek
they're
will
not
give.
totally waterproof, are they?
Oh, heck no. No,
Oh,
they're
okay.
uh they're water permeable. So they'll shed water. Like if you have sideways rain coming in, for the most part they'll shed. But if you pick it up and make like a bowl shape and fill it with water, it does trickle through. So,
Mm,
like, it's better than nothing. It's better than water hitting your OSB on your house. But
yeah. My mind goes to chicken coop. But I guess probably not.
I mean, I suppose you could use Tyvek. I know Tyvek's a heck of a lot stronger than the house wrap stuff, but Tyvek's kind of expensive.
Yeah. I mean, if you had it laying around or something,
Yeah, if you had it laying around.
using that. But
I don't know, man. I don't want to stare at house wrap any longer than I have
no,
to.
no. Yeah. I agree.
You see a chicken coop out in the yard and it just says Lowe's all over it.
Yeah.
Siding's always the last thing you do. And so, that I've noticed that driving around here, you'll see people's houses where they obviously built an addition and they just have Lowe's wrap all over it, but you can tell the Lowe's wrap's like 5 years old or older.
Flapping.
They never got to put the siding on. Like I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't come up with one that looks like clapboards.
See, there's where it's at. Come out with a house wrap that looks like siding of some kind.
Yep.
Like you got your board and bat siding, turn it sideways, and now it kind of
Like it doesn't
now
look bad.
shiplap.
Yeah. Like
Up
it's,
here they call it North Country siding because so many people leave their houses that way. When we built the first house, it was on for like 6 months. I had ordered the siding, hadn't come in yet, and the insurance company's like, "Oh no, you got to get that on. You have a week left until we cancel your insurance." Like, do you know how many houses up here have that on there for years? They're like, "Nope, you have 6 months." I forget what it was. You have 6 months from when you started building or something like that. But I'm like, really?
have
Well,
it look
maybe it's
like a
people.
brick.
That's like the junk they have on the farmhouse. I've seen it on other houses, so I know it's not just ours, but it's like I don't know if it's asbestos shingles or if it's just asphalt shingles, but it's got a brick print on the outside, so it looks like red brick from, if you're out at the road.
I've
But
seen
when
that.
when
Yeah.
you get up close, it's just like I don't know, like 30-inch wide, like asphalt shingle looking stuff with a brick print on it.
Like a
I've seen,
sheet.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a sheet. They just roll it out and nail it to the house, and it's like I see that stuff and it's just like, oh my gosh, this stuff looks terrible. And it's starting to rot and fall off the farmhouse, so it looks even worse. But it's just like,
Yeah, where
man,
did
why
that
would
come
you?
from?
Yeah, where'd that
I've
come
seen it
from?
before. There's a place down over here by us that I think it's just like a little shed or not even a shed. It looks like a garage that's completely wrapped in that?
There's one I saw, and it looks like rock. You know the rock you'd put on your house, like
Yep.
it's like flagstone looking stuff. It looks like that, but it's asphalt, and it's just like, yeah,
Hmm.
you could do a little bit better. Like that looks really tacky.
Feels like it's probably been there forever.
It's probably ancient at this
Yeah.
point, but so that was about my week. A lot and nothing all at once.
Yeah, that was a lot, man. I'm glad you got that roof done. That's cool.
Feels good. Now if it would just rain, we're supposed to get rain like Thursday and Friday, and I'm like, bring it on,
That's the
bring it all
test.
on.
You got
Yeah.
a roof, you got a deck. You don't need it's like, yeah, no, no rain for you now. You're prepared.
Yeah.
Just need some. I gotta get the fascia board finished, like put the actual fascia, and then I can get rain gutters. I'm very much looking forward to rain gutters, but
Hmm.
it sure is nice, like seeing how the water runs off the roof, in the few sprinkles we've had since we got the metal up. Well, I guess the one sprinkle that we've had since we got the metal up. It's just like, man, this is nice. I know, like, we have these heavy dews in the morning. We had one the other morning, and like I start hearing like you know, drip, 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 drip. I got excited. I was like, "Oh, is it raining?" It was first thing in the morning, so it's still dark. I look out and I can see stars, and it's just the roof dripping from all the condensation. But it's kind of weird. Like there's a new drip line that has never been there before starting to show up. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. Now I will say, when the water drips off a 16-foot tall roof, man, does it cut a channel in the ground. Like I'm gonna have to put a lot of rock down if we don't get rain gutters because that's a lot of water coming down, in a rain event. I'm afraid it's gonna undercut
Yeah.
foundation. Like
Oh,
that's
really?
yeah, on the downhill side. Like it'll be fine. I'll just put some boards down so it's running off of that, but
You can save a lot of
eventually
water.
it's a lot of water. That's a 2,000 square feet of roof. It's a lot of water.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. I think that's it, huh? All right. We'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and watching the podcast. Really appreciate it. And if you're always, I'm curious, I don't know who just listens to the podcast versus who watches the podcast. To me, it seems like more people watch because you can kind of do both. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, I appreciate you guys listening and watching the podcast. Really appreciate it. And hopefully everyone has a good week and happy start to our fall. See you next week.
Have a good week, everyone.
Later, everybody.